All right, welcome to me in Tip Talks. I told you I was coming back here. We're here, and this is a guy I've been trying to find for 2 weeks now. The hiding son of a, And so this is Pete, or I call him Peter. And I'll tell you a funny story, Pete, just before we get started with this. So I got a motorhome, right? And his nickname is Pete, like the Peterbilt truck, right? So we leave here the other day, and I'm sitting talking to my girlfriend, and she says, Marianne, and she says, you realize you call him Pete? He said, so you said you're out riding Pete after you're talking about Pete. That's not good. Great way to start out, eh, guys? Anyhow, I've been trying to get this interview for a while.
Nobody rides Pete.
Nobody rides Pete. So I think I'm going to stand on the opposite side here, Pete, because that sun's right on me here, and that's got to work out a little bit better. How do you get my good side here? Sure. So listen, just to give you a little bit of sun on my face, like you're prettier than I am now. So the thing I like about Pete is I've known him for about 4 years now, eh? I used to walk down here from my daughter's place when I was staying there when I couldn't walk much because it's incapable, very fast. And you remember at that time, you and I had some conversations about that. And folks, I want you to just recognize one thing more than anything else. I'm going to show you, because Pete, you said that was okay to. This is where we're at.
Hey, baby. I'm doing an interview with a news guy.
We'll be about 10 minutes or so. Unless you guys want to be in on it.
What do you need, a hug?
Oh, I just
Come here and give me a hug and stop being like that.
This is live, folks. This is how it works.
This is one of my neighbors.
This is one of your neighbors? Good deal. Good deal.
We take care of each other.
Good
That's
job.
right.
All right, thank you. And this is why we do things live.
Yeah.
Right? So Pete's here trying to destroy his lungs worse than they've always been.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to tell you Pete's story, but Pete, is it okay if I interview you?
Yeah,
It's
you
okay?
go ahead.
All right. Now, we've already agreed that we're not going to try and use names as much as possible, and we're not going to try and, say, hey, it's this person or that person that's a big problem. But we do have a problem when it comes to homelessness, and I'd like you to tell your story in general. Take as long as you want, Pete, or as short as you want. Tell everybody to go jump a rope if they have to. But you heard his laugh, and I just absolutely love his laugh. He's got that. So the time's right up here, how long we're taking.
Oh, okay.
So I'd like, can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to give you some glasses.
No, I'm good.
One of his teeth broke off. That ain't good. But he can hear.
And I didn't even feel it.
A completely other story, man. Anyhow, so we're going to go for, I'm guessing, about 15 minutes with this one, because this is an interview I've been wanting to have for a long time. Because I know from inside me, right, that you have the answers that these people desire to hear. People really know you around here, and they know who you are, and they know your heart. And I'm gonna say this because Pete's been out here 9 years. Okay, so let's talk about a little bit about why you ended up here.
Well, I was over on 50th Street. How I ended up in this part of town, and I was staying in some bush over there, and a lot of things happened there and stuff, spiritual things and physical things and mental things, and a lot of things happened. And so two police officers that were kind of monitoring the situation brought me to this part of the city and said this is a more private place. Now what was weird was I set up in this place. All of a sudden, all these people started coming around.
I think there's more police officers that brought more people down there?
I don't know if it was what the heck was going on, right? But all of a sudden, people just started showing up and this and that, and they're trying to be bossy and all sorts of things. And then it's just like, no. It's just like, I was here first. There was nobody here before me, right? And now we're all here, and who are you? Because I don't know you, right? And but there is people I did know, but I saw them in a dream.
Nice.
Right? So and I haven't had that dream since, right? So it was kind of a prophetic.
Okay.
Right? So it's just something beyond.
So not religious per se, Pete, but just a spiritual type thing that happens.
Yeah.
Maybe you told me.
Nothing
I think
to
we were
do
talking
with
earlier.
religion.
You were talking about dying one time,
Yeah.
right? So let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah,
we
right.
are live. You hear that?
Right.
I love the fact that we're live.
I actually died laying in the bush. This was over on 50th Street. I laid there dead for 8 hours. I couldn't move, but I was totally aware on the inside. So it was my spiritual state of being, right? So it's just like, okay, I know that I'm involved in things in a spiritual way, but it has nothing to do with religion.
Right.
Right? It's just like there's natural spiritualists, and that's the way it is. And it's all good. That's why there's medicine men and shamans and everything.
It's all things, right?
Right?
Yeah.
All that
I mean, in
stuff.
my case, I believe my God is Jesus Christ, and that's who I believe in because,
Yeah.
hey, I'd rather believe in that than nothing,
Yeah.
right? And, you know, I talk lots of times with atheist people. Oh, I'm an atheist. And I'm like, well, do you believe in yourself? And they say, yes. I said, you're not an atheist. Right?
Because you're part of the system.
Part of the system,
Right.
And that's right. So I wanted to get away from the whole mental health part of it because spirituality and mental health, it's completely different, isn't it?
It's totally different.
Okay, so give us your thought on the difference between your mental health, because I know, you can become aware and tell us much of that story about your PTSD and my PTSD, and we understand that perfectly, you and I. That's not something we're going to get too deep in. I want you to understand that, folks. People with PTSD and trauma often don't talk about it because it's something we don't want to talk about. Yeah. So he can open up as much as he can, and who knows, maybe the next time he'll fill our ears full of that stuff and what we need to hear. But the first time here, I want you to share a little bit about it, though, right? Because I don't want them to mix up the fact that you had these spiritual awakenings and PTSD. I want that to be separate.
Yeah.
So how can
I don't really believe in PTSD. I believe in doorways of the mind being open, and then you're subjected to that doorway being open.
Okay.
And you don't quite understand it, so then it becomes a conflict.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
So
I understand that.
Yeah.
Which makes me sick too.
Yeah. Right. So
I
it's
do.
just like, and it's stress that opens a lot of doorways and so on and so forth. And a
So
lot
do you believe it's our choice to walk through that door? Or do you think that that's something in our mind that his mind has more? Because obviously
I think
God created our mind.
it's served by the hand of fate.
Right.
It's just you end up there, you experience that stress, that doorway gets open.
So would that be the same as like people talking about, like I have a sister who talks about the universe all the time. Is that what we're talking about? Like she talks about what the universe does this, the universe does that.
Yeah. And the universe does too.
The universe does that.
Right?
That's a lot of horsepower there, folks.
Right?
And he knows it.
The universe is made out of galaxies and stars and planets and all sorts of things some things we don't even have names for yet because we were looking at it through a peephole.
Okay, so we laid down a kind of a foundation of that right now.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to tell people about your own mental health and how you're feeling now? Because I'm a guy who's a realist, and I believe that you're more healthy than most of the people I talk to.
Because
tell us why I would think that. You know me well enough.
Because I battle it. If it's wrong, I battle it. If it's right, I nurture it.
Okay.
And you could be in touch with a spiritual being on the other side of the planet. You don't know.
You don't know that. That's right.
Is that right? So it's just like, but there is something that's very big on this planet. They call it the fulcrum. And once that door gets opened, you're in it. And good luck closing that door. So it's either you're chosen to do a work in that or you're not. Right? So it's just learn to do.
I'm listening to an audio
it's
book.
Looking for your advice.
I'm listening to an audio book right now called with Victor Franklin about men's dealing with life like that because he was in an insane asylum and he was put in a place. I don't know whether you've ever heard of it, but it's quite a good. And I just started getting it, and a buddy of mine sent it to me through so I can have it on audio because I don't read as good as I'd like to. Right?
Yeah.
So Victor Frankl is the guy's name, and he was searching for the meaning of life is what the name is. Mm-hmm. So it's something that you're talking about right now, searching for it's okay, I died a level. I quit 4 years ago, you know that? Well, that's fine. Actually, you met me right around that time.
Yeah.
And actually, you did meet me when I quit smoking.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's very interesting that we're sitting here and you're blowing in my face. Yeah. It's okay. He wants me to die before him.
You
That's what
tempter.
Actually, you know what? It doesn't bother me. I made my peace with it.
Right.
So,
that's exactly it.
yeah.
And that's, I've been through things where my my daughter died, all sorts of things, right? And it's
Those
just like,
fucking birds are stealing your sandwiches.
that's okay, you keep going.
Oh, you got to eat too, right?
Right, that's the one I
I
taught
can do
'em.
without the bees.
I
though.
taught them to do that. If they see food laying around, eat it.
And you know what? I just brought a bunch of sandwiches, and look at them all standing around there. And I think they're mine that they stole.
Right. So it's just, it's all good.
Anyhow, so
Help
you know, biblically, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Biblically, it's if how important are we if the birds are that? Look at it, he's going over there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
he's done
share.
your stuff, not mine.
We
So I have
share.
to.
And it's just a pancake.
It's
so
just a pancake thing.
It's just
right?
a pancake. So
You know
it's-
what? If somebody steals out of your house, you guys call the police and they go to jail. Bird steal out of his food and out of my food. What do we do?
Crow swipes a bag of chips off the fucking golf course. They're gonna shoot
You
him.
paid a whole bunch of money. So that kind of is our channel into what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So we're here talking about homelessness. We're not here to talk about anything but that,
Yeah.
right? But mental health is about homelessness.
Yeah.
Spirituality is about homelessness.
Yeah.
There are people addicted to drugs, like we've met people that are addicted to drugs. We know that there's a bunch of pathological liars. We've seen that. But are they any different than we are on the street in these nice houses? No. No. And that's something I want to make very clear is that we're only a couple paychecks of being homeless ourselves.
For the same reasons that people become homeless, there's also those that are very rich that live the same.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's just
How many homeless
Yeah.
minded people think that, right?
Yeah. Right. So it's just they're more fortunate in that sense. Right.
So let's look at something. Let's go back to what we're talking about here too. All right, you said something to me earlier that really piqued my interest, and you were talking about how homelessness, and we used to live in tents
150 years ago.
150 years ago.
Right.
That's not that long
We lived
ago.
in tents. We traveled nomadically across this country. We didn't have an address.
Nobody owns shit.
Right? Nobody owned nothing. We scurried the ground for our livelihoods,
Right.
looking for gold and gems and
we killed
trapped-
shit to eat.
We trapped.
Yep.
Right, and then we lived this way for up to 150 years ago, and then they decide, well, let's build a fort. Right, and it's because things were getting more intense and so on and so forth. Oh, I know.
They just ripped off that arm.
Yeah, I
Well,
love
yeah.
Crow. He's cool.
So anyhow, they just ripped off one of his pancakes. It's pretty funny. And they're eyeing all up the stuff I brought along too, but we're going to let them eat if they want to.
Yeah, we share. We
You know
share
what?
in the woods.
We are the same,
Yeah,
right?
we're all the
So
same.
how much are we sharing? How much are you sharing? So I'm putting this out to the public. This isn't just going here. This is going all over
Yeah.
North America.
Yeah,
I hope it goes viral.
yeah.
I hope I have to go and speak in so many different places that I can't keep up to because, man, I'm bringing you with me. Someone's got to feed the birds. That's the way it's going to be. Anyhow, so tell me more about, and I'm going to ask this direct question. Is homeless ever not being? Or is it just being something that these people that are ignorant don't realize that homelessness has been forever?
Yeah, they call it homelessness, but it should have a different name, right? Because there's those that are
Living without your shit. That's why people go camping.
There's those that are drawn by nature into nature, and it wants you to keep your fire small. It doesn't want all those material things around you, right? So on and so forth. It wants you to live simple, but at the same time understand the complexity, right?
Yes.
Of the synchronicity. And it's just like, so it's just, so it's there's those that are called to it, and then there's those that, hey, look what that guy's doing. What a perfect cover for something else.
Yes.
Right.
And that happens lots.
And
doesn't
that's
it?
what happens.
Yeah.
And it's just
So here's one of the things that I've never understood. Okay? So let's look at people for general, right? So if you're saying, okay, we don't like the homeless people because they're living in tents. But they have these great big freaking motorhomes. And they're going and they're paying money to park somewhere to protect them from the homeless who have their own tents. Now, please explain to me the difference between you and me and these people. Tell me.
I don't think they're doing it to protect themselves from the homeless. I think they're doing it to protect themselves from people. Right?
Right.
just people in general. There's bad people and there's good people in everything from top to bottom.
So there's a couple points I wanted to talk about. I want to jump around. I want to keep the kind of the rhythm that we're going here. And we're already at 14 minutes, so I knew it was going to go like this because you got a lot to say, and I got a lot to hear from you, and the world has a lot to hear from you. And I hope the whole world hears this, because the realization that I'm getting from what you're saying is that we're no different than you are.
Oh yeah.
So would you please understand that these are real human people? Now, I go back in history and I think about the natives.
Yeah.
So now they got this big prayer that they say before all the big events, you're on treaty territory. We stole the frickin' land. We're not giving it back. But, sorry, Pete, we just took, we just took your camper, your tent.
Don't get me going on treaty because they're all freaking disassociated Mayans.
Whoa! That's one of the things we weren't going to do.
I got kicked out of South America.
Okay, so what I'm saying, Pete, is that they were living in tents. Oh, wait a minute. Wigwams, teepees. Yet we stole their land. Oh, white people did, right?
Yeah.
And now we've got other people coming in.
Yeah.
And how many of them are homeless? Wait a minute. Our government says no. How many black people have you seen? Oh, I'm opening up a can of worms. On the streets.
Right?
How many? Have you seen one?
No, not
Me
that
either.
many.
Okay, now what about East India?
Not that many.
Not that many. What about anything besides white? Oh, natives.
White and natives.
White and natives. We stole their land.
Yeah.
And now we are trying to remove them. Now let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So Pete had his own home set up that I couldn't friggin' find. And I tried the other day. Mary and I were out for 2 hours. And my bad knees. And I was so close to him that I should have been able to friggin' smell him, but I couldn't.
No.
He's that. And they still, it wasn't the police that brought him here that tore him down. Who was it?
It was city infrastructure that tore it down.
Okay, are they building something where you're there, or are you
No, it's just a piece of land.
just a piece of land?
It's called the Ukrainian forest.
Ukrainian forest.
I guess maybe you got to be Ukrainian to stay there.
Okay. So we're going to start Monday morning, next Monday, selling pierogies and sausage, and we'll be there for the rest of our lives. Now that's being sarcastic, but that's just how stupid it sounds, right?
It's craziness.
It is craziness.
It's just
So,
totally insane. How do you help somebody from being homeless by taking their stuff?
okay, and this is something I talked to Wade about yesterday,
Yeah.
or the day before yesterday. Right, I was talking to him about the fact, what do they take? Every freaking thing.
Your food, everything.
So they don't leave you with anything.
They leave you nothing.
So just with the clothes on your back.
You obviously you weren't there because you would have defended it to the death because it's your
You
home.
would have been. I heard what happens when somebody takes
Right?
a pack of smokes off.
Unless there's cops there with guns going, okay, well, they're going to be doing this, okay?
Kind of like, I hate to bring up something controversial, but kind of like the, maybe something to do with universities. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, you know about that news, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, we're not going to get too far into that because
Yeah.
that's, okay, but that's kind of the same thing, isn't it?
Well, yeah.
They're camping out trying to make a statement.
Yeah.
Pete's not trying to make a statement.
No.
Here's something that, before we get finished, we're going to cut her down about 20 minutes here.
Yeah.
Before we get too serious about that, Pete wants to stay there.
I live like we used to live 150 years ago because we've lost it, and if our society crumbles, we're going to die, lots of us.
Okay, so
Right? So someone needs to know.
So here's the statement. Here's a question for you. And this is the most important question to ask. Why not homelessness?
Yeah.
Why not?
Right?
Okay, so what happens, like we already know, we're not stupid by any stretch of imagination.
Yeah.
We're in a pretty bad downsize as far as the economy goes.
Yeah.
Homelessness might become a damn thing.
You know, if they need a place where they can find you or whatever, have a place where you can check in, your picture gets taken, I'm in the area, I'm no longer homeless.
Okay, so I portrayed a thing that I want to do. Gio, you remember what we were talking
Yeah.
about? So I think this is where I'm going to expose what I'm thinking. So I asked Pete, and I'm not going to tell you exactly what I asked him, but I'm going to get Pete to give you a response in our closing here about the idea that I have. You know, he said he doesn't want to be a part of it because he doesn't want to be that popular. Which is just because Pete's such a nice guy.
I'm a
Everybody
shy
will be
guy.
coming for coffee, and he doesn't want everybody to dampen his spirits. So, Pete, what do you think of the idea?
I think it's a good idea. You know, as long as there's none of the problems of society, and it's there being performed by naturalists and people that want to be there, and so on and so forth. They're not trying to hide their lives and so on and so forth. Right? I think it's an excellent idea, and it'll probably open up areas of behavioral scientists watching and learning from it and all sorts of things, right? So it's just, I think it's an excellent idea.
Okay, so the idea, folks, is to have a parcel of land that maybe the city will give us that we could set up,
sell it to you for $1.
sell it to me for $1 or a squaw. I mean, what is it?
They got government buildings they sell for $1.
But seriously, if we had a parcel of land, I would oversee kind of thing, and I'd have Pete as my main guy here. Because I hear he can give you a kick in the head if you don't tell him the truth. This is what I hear. Anyhow, and it's true. I've investigated this. It's true that he will kick you in the head if you steal $20 off him. Right?
Right in the forehead.
Right in
just
the
a toe tap.
You just. So
Right.
I've called him, and he probably doesn't like this, but I've called him Military Pete for a long time.
But once you deliver that kind of restitution to the problem, right? You can't go back and claim on it and do it again and again and again.
And they can't make money off it.
You give them one poke in the forehead, you did wrong.
And you know what? Isn't that exactly what everybody's doing to people?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Bill and Pete, if you don't do it our way in the head,
Yeah.
and we do it the right way.
But then it's again and again and again and again because
So let's get back
So
to,
now it's abuse.
in the wrap up, let's get back to the whole thing. They take everything. So
every-
everything I've got at my house right now, and God, I hope they don't do it because they did the video. They could come in there, strip me out of everything, all my family heirlooms, all the pictures, all the things, and throw it in a dumpster while I'm not there. So that's trespassing in everybody else's friggin' neighborhood.
Yeah.
And they go to jail for that.
Yeah.
So we're lying. I think that guy needs a new belt. What do you think?
There was a chick that was just like that.
Whoa!
$700 fix, mister.
It's terrible, but we are live, and that's what I like about doing the live stuff, because this is what we hear every day. So getting back to what we were talking about, Pete, what's the answer? I mean, I'm not stupid enough to think I have the answer.
I think the answer is education. I think the answer is honest realization of the problems and providing the proper answers to it. You can't say that's not allowed, because as soon as you say it's not allowed, the need for it is there.
That's correct. That's correct.
Right.
Okay, now let's go back and just touch on your military background. I know that you're military. So, how much of that learning behavior did you get? Because I understand, not certain, but I'm pretty sure from what I've heard, the military isn't the nicest place to be.
No, but if you're some people that know people, I used to go fishing with Ab.
If you give a guy a loaf of bread, right?
And the admiral was interested in an application of something that he was really severely researching, because it was part of, he was the commander-in-chief of the Canadian Armed Forces. His name was Jethro Morris.
Oh, threw a name out there, eh, buddy?
Right? But he's
Did we say we were gonna-
he's long past.
Oh, he's long past, but
Right.
it's history.
So he was really interested in something called the chosen.
Okay. Who's that?
Chosen is a spiritual application of authority
Nice.
over a situation because it's out of hand.
And that's something for the Canadian Army?
Well, he was wondering how it applied to the military.
Okay, and in your opinion, in our closing,
Yeah.
because we're going to go 25 minutes,
And when it comes to law,
what is your thinking on that very rule?
yeah, right? On that very role,
On that very rule that he's saying. That he's saying it can be a thing, right? This
Yeah.
idea can be a thing.
yeah,
What do you think? Can it be a thing?
yeah,
in
it
this day and
can.
age?
But people have to let go of the old.
Right. Nobody likes new shit.
No, right? Because you have to relearn, right? And nobody wants to relearn.
Okay, so I'm going to be going and putting this on my site tonight. And I'm also going to be giving it to the board, to Chinatown, that has a little bit of cash as well. And they're going to, give them basically not say much about anything else, kind of money.
Yeah.
And I want you to tell me, where would that best be served, that money? The $40 million that were just given to us by the federal government.
In the pursuit and the enabling of realistic truth.
Education of the truth.
Education.
As we see it, or as...
No, as it is.
As it is. So we're not stupid enough to think that we know what's right and wrong.
Exactly. As soon as we put our opinion to it.
Right? But reality is still damn reality.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what we're talking about, folks. The reality of homelessness. This is one of, I hope, many of our conversations that Pete and I are going to have. I'm not going to add all of them because Pete might say we can't put that. And I might say, oh, we can't put that. But this is the first one. The world is not ready for that. But in closing, I want to say this. I believe, and I'm sure you'll back me up, education, number one. Reality, number two. Realizing that all the people have gone to a place where they're no longer taking care of each other, they're taking care of themselves. Selfishness, self-centeredness.
You can't take care of anybody until you learn to take care of yourself.
So I've always said, $1 from everybody in Edmonton changes homelessness.
Yeah.
But doesn't.
No.
Because we've got our people that are literally
using.
So it's what's amazing to me is that we're sitting here talking about people that are homeless using other people to get ahead.
Man uses everything it gets its hands on.
Yes.
And that's a terrible thing. That's where we start to become crippled in our understandings and mindsets.
Yes.
Right? So it's just like stop using things and just start working with
Yes.
it instead.
Yes.
And then start working with it by educating yourself to the realism of the truth.
So I have a personal favor to ask you, Pete.
What's that?
Would you help me educate people just by doing some of these videos and talking about the way it is out here for sure?
I'd be interested in having more than just this contact with
Okay.
you,
Sure.
right? And we'll see where the good Lord up above takes.
Absolutely. I would really like to find that friggin' place just because I want to see how close
Yeah.
that I was to it. You're not coming.
No.
You're
No.
not coming. But I'm going.
It's an undisclosed location.
And we're also going to, I want to do an interview there with Marianne. She's going to run the video camera, and she's really good at it. And she can edit and all that kind of shit. I just do really good short videos.
Yeah.
Right? But would you commit to doing that with us? The next one, we'll do it down at your house.
Another time, no problem.
Okay, well, I'll call you.
Right.
Like, hey, Pete,
Right.
that's what I should have done.
One thing
I was that close. I
One
could
thing
have yelled out.
I noticed about the fulcrum in that paths cross, they keep crossing and
Yes.
then they don't, and then they come
And
back
you and
together
I,
again,
yeah.
and it keeps happening. You don't fight it.
How many times, Pete, have I went through drive-through,
Tell
or
the
I
truth.
parked over here, and you're like this with your big arm?
Tell the truth and just
Okay.
live. Right.
I want to tell the truth. Pete wants to tell the truth. Will you? And that's how we're going to end this. Okay? This is one of many, but it's something that you should share. You know, I do these videos. Like it, subscribe to it. I've got a whole bunch more followers now. I want a bunch more. If this goes as goes this, I'll come and share my story. I'll bring Pete along with me. We'll even give him a shave. You know, give him the goatee like I'm balding there.
I'll even teach you some of the ways it takes to survive in minus 40.
You know what? How many of you fuckers know that?
That's right.
Oops. Oops. It's Pete's fault. we'll just blurb that out. Not. Anyhow, this is a real live thing. So what I always say, Pete, after every interview I do, is this statement: have a great day, Pete, unless you got other plans.